What's going on, everyone? Tony with Sterling Cards here, and today we're going to be answering your questions. For the past couple of weeks, you guys have been asking us questions all over social media, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, wherever. So I posted some videos asking you guys to ask me even more questions, and you guys delivered. We took all of the best ones that can be applied to the majority of the people watching, and we put them into this video. So if any other questions pop up while you guys are watching this, make sure to comment them down below. We're going to make this a running series, and as we continue to get more and more questions, I'm just going to continue to pump out these videos. So let's just get right into it. Question coming in from Kohi35. What was the hardest thing in the beginning? I put this question first because I see a ton of people on everyone else's social media commenting, asking about this exact same thing. For me, the hardest thing about starting is actually just starting. I would watch so many YouTube videos about so many successful mega empire businesses just crushing it, everything that they do, a day in the life, all of that good stuff. And I'm a very driven and diligent person, so it was almost like a little tormenting because I'm watching these people be wildly successful at things I want to do, but then I just wasn't doing it. It wasn't until after college where I really wanted to start taking that initiative to actually start to build something. So I would say the hardest thing is just taking initiative. And by the way, I'm not saying we're like mega rich. I mean, I got a couple dollars in my bank account, but we're not like wildly successful in any way, shape, or form. We're hoping to get there one day, but right now it's just baby steps. But I'm a big believer in if you enjoy what you're doing and it doesn't feel like work, you will be successful at it. Question 2, coming from God Swans. How do you even get started? Genuinely, I love to start one and buy product, but I have no clue where to even look or start. This is probably the second most common question I see on social media. And for this, I'd identify 2 factors. The first one is, what area would you like to see improved in the TCG or sports card space? Second one is, how would you do it differently? In the beginning, you need to be able to identify these 2 things because anyone can go out, buy a pack of sports cards, Pokemon cards, bring them home, break them on TikTok, whatnot, YouTube, whatever. But the biggest thing in a market like this is actually being able to differentiate yourself to the customers. Like I said, anyone can go out and buy packs, but can everyone provide the same customer experience that you can? Can everyone provide the same value, the same products? The list goes on and on. You're not going to stand out, and you're probably not going to make that much money just doing the same thing that thousands of, if not tens of other thousands of people are doing. And don't forget, it's okay to trial and error things too. We did that at the beginning of Sterling Cards, and we turned out just fine. And this is the whole lineage of our Sterling Card experience so far. We started setting up at local card shows, and then when we got bored of that, we started selling singles like on Whatnot. Then we started selling comic books. Then we went to Instagram, started doing razzes, if anyone knows what those are. And then we attempted to start doing sealed product breaks, specifically of sports cards. And then years later, now we're actually selling sealed product and now repacks as well. And that's been working really, really well for us. So like I said, identify what product or experience you want to make better, and then also identify how you're going to make it better. Because you can build a really good business model off of solving other people's problems or bettering people's experiences. Question 3, Timothy wrote, what are the taxes like and what can you do to prepare for tax season? First things first, gotta give props to Tim because almost all the financial questions I see in the comment section are, how do I make $1 million? How do I become a billionaire off of selling 2 Pokemon cards? That's a gold star worthy question. Every business does their taxes differently. Once it starts getting really overwhelming where like you're paying for travel, you're paying for inventory, maybe you're receiving sales, that's when I would recommend investing in a tax software service when it becomes too much. Because a lot of these services offer like real-time bookkeepers that will bookkeep for you for an additional cost. We trialed and error a couple, and right now we're using QuickBooks. It's really efficient, it's affordable, and it just makes sense. It has a direct integration with TurboTax, which is what we are planning on using for all of our taxes year over year. So honestly, as long as you stay organized and bookkeep, I would say maybe twice a month just to stay on top of things, tax season should really be a breeze. So find the service you want to use, get good with it, and just be on top of it and you'll be fine. Question 4, shout out to this guy, by the way, because this guy has been like a day one with us. As soon as we started streaming, he was in there. Do you need a brick and mortar store to start? Great question, Tazi. This is actually still a really common misconception that people think that you need a brick and mortar store, but you actually don't. Now listen, brick and mortar stores have their pros and cons for sure, but you actually don't need one to run a business. Like we have a whole LLC official business and we have never had a brick and mortar location. The biggest pro though with having a brick and mortar store is allocation, right? There's a lot of distributors, right, that will sell you sealed product fresh from the factory from Pokemon or Panini or whatever. And in order to get access to them, you need to have an account with them. In order to get an account with a distributor, more likely than not, you're going to need a brick and mortar store. There are so many more online retailers and online resellers in this space for collectibles, so they get to be pretty picky because they know that there's going to be a demand either way. A lot of the time, places like Southern Hobby will require you to have a brick and mortar store. I know every once in a while they'll open up applications to online only, but I think it's very sparse. So no, you don't need a brick and mortar store, but it does have its pros and cons. Question 5 from Fortis. I'm looking into getting into Whatnot, but don't know how much to spend to start up. What's a good budget to start start selling? Yeah, so there's no magical number you really need to start. It all depends on your own personal finances. I know that's not like the flashy answer like a lot of people wish that they can get, but it's true. If you're bad with money, I don't recommend starting a business until you get good with money, first and foremost. If you're all right or pretty good with money, then that's where you can really start taking this seriously and allocating a certain amount per month to the business. Transparently for us, we were allocating maybe $150, $200 a month, if that, to our business when we first started out. But that's just how much we could afford. The last thing you want to do is be over leveraged or go into debt when you don't need to when starting a business. You need to become profitable and you need to slowly start to build up. Sometimes starting out with smaller capital is good, but it's whatever you can afford. Make sure you feel comfortable because none of this money is guaranteed or given. You could lose it all. It's just like the stock market. You got to assess how much you're willing to invest in the company and then just kind of go from there. Question 6 from Ryan Bates. With small capital startup, I buy a box of booster packs. Now what? How or where do I sell small packs to flip a profit while working a 9 to 5, not being able to go to conventions? Okay, this definitely is right up my alley because I was almost in an identical situation when we first started this business. My advice to you is figure out how to snowball this capital, this minimal capital that you are investing into the company. I see from your comment, it says you can't sell at shows and you work a 9 to 5. I would advise you after hours, after work, or on the weekends, start a social media account. Start posting consistently, and on platforms like Whatnot or TikTok, start going live streaming, add stuff, add inventory into your shop, and just see how that goes. We live in the age of social media where people are willing to pay a premium to buy something from you just to say that they bought it from you or just because they like you. It's true. So I would sit down, make a consistent schedule, and just ease into that. Maybe you're going to make X amount of posts on this platform a week. Maybe you're going to go live X amount of times this week on this platform, and then X amount of times on the other platform. And also, speaking from experience, I don't know if I would start off buying sealed product and then taking the booster packs out and selling them. Booster packs are always risky, so I would go with something that has almost like a guaranteed value aspect to them, like graded cards. And so buying some slabs for under market price and then reselling them is a whole lot easier than buying booster packs and then reselling them, unless you're like some sort of huge platform with a huge following. You can also just sell on eBay. It's literally one of the biggest buying platforms in the world, but if you got to be willing to eat those fees from eBay, however, which, they always vary depending on the price of the product, but still mix and match, see what works for you, and then go from there. Question 7, for a complete newbie to the Pokemon TCG world, where should I start my research on what to invest in? I would say YouTube videos. For me, I am not big into Pokemon investing at all. I'm just not about it. I think you should just open what you like, but there's a ton of content creators on YouTube that speak to this all the time. People that upload daily, upload weekly, and just go really in depth into the market, analyze everything, and then make an assumption off of that. No matter what hobby you're getting into, YouTube will just teach you so much. There's so many knowledgeable people here, and I have utilized YouTube so much to learn about sports cards and Pokemon cards throughout the years. My personal recommendation for YouTubers as of now, if you're trying to build a business strictly online selling sealed product, PokeNE I think is a wonderful resource. I think Danny Phantom has an excellent market analysis, and he really just puts out really, really quality content. And then if you just want to be entertained by general Pokemon content, Purple Cliff is just so funny. I will literally just put him on, just watch him in the background as I'm doing work for hours. So yeah, utilize YouTube and you will very soon be in the loop on what's going on. What are your main streams of marketing? Great question. We don't do any sort of paid marketing as of now. We just post on social media. Like this YouTube video you're watching right now is a form of marketing that we're doing. We post primarily on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at the very moment. We just stick to those platforms, and we're trying to master them. We're definitely not pros at any of these platforms right now, but we're getting there. We're getting there. As you continue to grow, obviously assess, watch other content creators on YouTube and see what they have to say about it and go from there. But I do highly recommend making a schedule and posting frequently because it has definitely started to pay off for us. And the final question is, how time consuming is this business if slowly easing into it? I guess it really depends on how slowly you're easing into it. Some people will want to jump right into business, quit their job, and do everything like that, which don't recommend. And some people want to grow it from a hobby slowly into a business, into something that they can eventually do down the line. My piece of advice is you're your business and your business is you. If you're the only person in your business too, it only is working when you're working. Like if you're out playing video games, hanging out, going out to drink, whatever, like your business isn't doing anything. Even if you have stuff listed on eBay, like you're really not doing all too much. So it can be really time consuming, truthfully. And especially if you want to grow faster, you're going to have to be on that, pumping out content, doing stuff day in and day out. I'm fortunate enough that I started this business with my business partner, Dante, and we're able to kind of help out each other where we see fit and really analyze our bandwidth on what we need to be working on, what we need to prioritize, and kind of split that between us two. But also kind of tying into the beginning of the video, if you enjoy what you do and you enjoy like the whole space and the whole business aspect of it, it really doesn't feel like work. And then therefore, at least for me, it doesn't feel like it's that time consuming. I record, edit and post on social media all the time. I'm always striking deals online with people for slabs. I stream 4 or 5 times a week just to stream, see if we can make any additional sales, and none of that feels like work to me at all. So yeah, it can be really time consuming, but don't let it take over your life. The last thing you want is for a side hustle that you want to turn into a business end up ruining you, taking away from personal experiences in your life. So yeah, all in all, it can be very time consuming, but limit yourself, give yourself a schedule, and work from there so you don't burn yourself out. And guys, we have officially gotten to the end of the video. If you have made it this far without skipping through, appreciate you very, very much. If any more questions arose when you guys were watching this, make sure to comment them in the comment section below. Make sure to follow us on social media, on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to us here, and we will see you guys next time. Peace out.